let's cultivate our motivation and try to have a mind that is free from attachment, that holds some people dear and really wants to be with them. A mind free of anger that doesn't want to be around other people and wants to push them away or even cause them harm. And a mind of confusion where we're simply apathetic towards the fact that other beings have feelings and want to be happy and free of suffering. So try to have a mind that's free from that clinging, anger, and confusion. And then within that, remember the kindness of others, how they have been kind in this life, previous lives, they will be kind to us in the future. And really feeling the kindness that they've shown us in so many ways that enable us to stay alive and have the opportunities that we have right now. Then have the motivation to repay that kindness. Of course, we can repay others' kindness by doing good things for them in this life. But another way, more lasting way of repaying kindness is for us to develop our spiritual capabilities, become a fully awakened Buddha, and then use the wisdom, compassion, power and skill that a Buddha has to be of great benefit, long-lasting benefit. So let's have that long-term view of how to proceed in order to really help others and help ourselves most effectively. And let that be our motivation for being together today. I think all of us have the wish to have a meaningful life and have the wish to develop love and compassion for all beings. At least that's what we write on our season's greeting cards every year. So I assume maybe we mean it even a little bit. But when we have attachment, anger, or confusion towards others, it becomes very difficult to actually repay their kindness and to be of benefit. Because there's a really different feeling in your mind when you can look at others and say, oh, they've all benefited me in previous lives. From a Buddhist viewpoint, we speak about previous lives and future lives. And when we can see, oh, everybody's benefited me, not just some people, everybody's benefited me. And they've all benefited me in many, many different ways, not just in a couple of different ways. And so seeing everybody as equal in that regard, and so they're all equal in terms of deserving happiness, wanting to be free of pain. In other words, there's no other criteria necessary for our affection towards them other than the fact that they exist. That's pretty radical, isn't it? Yeah, because usually for us to have affection, we have a whole list of criteria. Yeah, starting out with, you have to be nice to me. And ending with, you have to praise me and never disappoint me. And in the middle, all filled with how they need to think and act and speak in order to agree with what we want and what we expect. Right? So, when we have that, if somebody is able to fulfill our checklist, then we usually say we love them, or we like them, or whatever, they're a friend, we care about them. And when they don't fulfill our checklist, or when they do the opposite, then get me away from them ASAP, because they are not worthy of my love. And if they've even harmed me, then let alone not be worthy of my love, they are worthy of my anger and my wrath, and bang in the nose, And I'm justified because they did this to me. Okay? So whether we're on, and then, if they don't mean much to us, then we're just plain old apathetic. They become like, telephone poles that we weave our way around as we walk down the street. We don't look at the people, do we? Don't look at them in the eyes and think, this is somebody who has feelings. They're just there in our way when we have to get somewhere. Or they're there in order to serve us, like when we go to the gas station or the bank or the grocery store. But we don't see them as real living beings who have feelings. So whenever we have attachment or anger or apathetic indifference, confusion in our mind, then how in the world are we going to be a benefit to others? Yeah? How in the world are we going to have a motivation to be kind to them when, in our perspective, our entire relationship with them revolves around me? Yeah? Now you might say, but when I'm attached to somebody, I really care about them and I want them to be happy. So that's in line with loving them and wanting to repay their kindness. Yeah, that sounds like a good argument, doesn't it? Don't you think? Yeah, I love them, they're so nice to me, we get along so well, we compliment each other very well. Sounds like a good argument. Wrong. Why is it wrong? Because as soon as they don't act that way, then our feelings about them change. So our care and affection is not something stable. Yeah, it's something very fickle and can change dramatically, can't it? Think about the people you're really close to. If they say something that you don't like, you get really mad. Madder than you get at the people who are strangers, usually. Right? And we say the most awful things to the people who we say we love the most. Huh? Why do we do that? You know, because there's attachment in the mind. And so there's a totally different feeling in our mind when we can look at somebody and say they've been kind to me, just, you know, just as everybody else has been kind to me, and really feel their kindness to us in our heart and want to repay that. There's a difference when we think like that and then when we think about somebody we're attached to. The feeling in our hearts is different. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah? Because when we're attached to somebody, there's so many expectations that it becomes very difficult to really benefit them because we expect so much out of them. Yeah, we expect them to be nice, we expect them to encourage us, we expect them to agree with us. Yeah, we expect them to always be on our side. We have tons of expectations. And that interferes with us just having a naturally open heart that wishes them well. So attachment and the kind of affection that we're trying to develop in Buddhist practice are quite different, you know, because the kind of affection or love that we're developing in our spiritual practice is something that we want to be constant, that's not going to be rocked by how people treat us and what they say to us and all of that. Yeah. An affection that's just based on seeing them clearly and seeing them as kind without putting all our stuff on top of them. Yeah? Communicating? Difficult, huh? It's hard. It's hard. Yeah? Because ever since we've been like this big, it's always, you're nice to me, you're my friend. You threw sand at me, get away from here. Yeah? You're not in my class, who cares? You know, from the time we were little, this is, you know, how we grew up thinking. And so to try and overcome that requires some effort. Yeah? But the more we can leave the attachment behind and cultivate genuine gratitude and affection and love, then the better the relationships with others are going to be, because they're not going to be so yo-yo depending upon how people act towards us. Yeah, so it requires a lot of practice. A lot of practice. But as we practice, the practice pays off. And we find our mind changing. And we find that we get along so much better with others because our mind has changed. Yeah. Okay. Actually, there's a whole lot more to say about that topic, but maybe I should speak about the assignment for today. Otherwise, I'll get in trouble. Okay. So today we're on verse 17. This is of Tongme Sangpo's great work on the 37 Practices of Bodhisattvas. And as I say, every sharing the Dharma day, when we're going through his text, every verse tells us, the advice in every verse is the exact opposite of what we want to do. And that's because our usual response is a response governed by confusion, anger, and attachment. And And his response, what he's recommending, is one governed by open-heartedness, forgiveness, you know, equal, impartial love and compassion towards others. Okay, so this verse is all about squashing our ego, so just get prepared. So the verse says, if an equal or inferior person disparages you out of pride. Okay, so think of a situation in your life. Yeah, I mean, you can even, yeah, think of an inferior or an equal person, or if you want to, you know, somebody who's higher in rank than you. Okay, think of when they have disparaged you out of pride. Can you imagine that? Somebody who is equal or inferior, somebody who doesn't have the same status at work than I have, somebody who doesn't know as much as I know, somebody who is not as skilled as I am. They disparage me because they think they're so fantastic. Okay, you got the scene? Can you think of an incident in your life when somebody did that to you? Just one, not all 100 of them. Okay. Somebody, you know, who does not know as much as you. Oh, I can think of one so well. Yeah? Some big mouth. Yeah. Who thinks he knows everything, coming in and teaching me what I already know, that actually I should be the one teaching him, because he doesn't know so much. Okay, so how do you usually feel in that situation? Angry. Yeah, what else? You feel, oh, like they're making you feel stupid. Yeah. Okay. Shocked? Huh? Vengeful. Competitive. Proud. Aggressive. Unworthy. Aggressive. Isn't that interesting? Unworthy and aggressive at the same time. You know, somebody says something, we kind of believe what they say, so we feel stupid and unworthy, and then we get mad at them for saying it. So we get angry, then we get vengeful, we want to retaliate and put them in their place. Yeah, because we also feel offended, because who do they think they are speaking to us that way? Yeah? Don't they know anything? Obviously not. Yeah. Okay. So that's how we feel. What do we want to do? What do you usually want to do when somebody treats you like that? What? Put them in their place. You want to speak some nice, delicately arranged, harsh words. That strike to the core. And humiliate them for their own good. Of course. Yeah. That humiliate them, hurt their feelings, and make it so they will never ever talk to us or anybody else like that. Yeah? So we want to, you know, say something, or sometimes even do something. When you get really angry and offended, you bypass the words and go straight to the punch. Yeah? I mean, think about it. How many people get in fist fights or worse because of this kind of thing? Yeah? I mean, what flashed in my mind, do you remember A few months ago, there were some kids outside a convenience store that were in their car, and they were playing loud music, and this guy drove up to them and said, "Turn it down," and they, I don't know what they said, you know, but like, "Hey, you know, we want to listen to our music," and he took out his gun and shot them and killed one of them. Well, they were leaving the, yeah? So, I mean, sometimes it's not just words, it becomes a violent thing. Because, you know, he was thinking, who are these kids? Kids! You know? Talking to me like that. So this is, yeah, can be dangerous. Very dangerous. Okay, so that's how we usually want to act, right? We want to take our revenge, hurt him physically, emotionally, any way we can, humiliate them. Yeah. And so what does Tongmei Sangmo tell us to do? Place her as you would your spiritual teacher with respect on the crown of your head. Come on, he's got to be joking. You know? This guy put this idiot on the top of my head with respect, like I would my spiritual teacher. Forget it. Yeah, that's what we feel, right? Which is exactly why we need to practice what he wrote. Yeah, it's the exact opposite of what we want to do, isn't it? Is place this person on the crown of our head with respect, as if they were our spiritual teacher. In Buddhist practice, we often visualize, at least in Tibetan practice, we imagine our spiritual teacher sitting on the crown of our head in the form of the Buddha. You know, and that can be very inspiring to us, because that way, you know, we think of our teachers and the Buddha's kindness, we think of their wise advice, we remember their compassion for teaching us and including us in their circle of people that they care for. And it's very inspiring, you know, to think of the Buddha, to think of our teacher, and to think of what they taught, so that we can practice it. Yeah, because our teacher's role in our lives is to get us to grow and to help us to overcome our ignorance, anger, and attachment. Yeah, so we revere our teacher, imagine them in the crown of our head in the form of the Buddha. And now you're going to put this idiot on the crown of your head as if they were your spiritual teacher? You know, how in the world is that possible? Yeah. This idiot doesn't know anything, and if I followed his advice, I'd wind up worse than I am now. So how in the world can he possibly be my spiritual mentor? How can he be? He's not teaching me anything. He's just aggravating me. Well, if we were smart, the big if, if we were smart, we would realize that we still can learn something from this person, and that they are actually teaching us something, or rather they're giving us an amazing opportunity to learn. What is it that we need to learn in this situation? Humility, fortitude, patience, kindness, gratitude. Gratitude to this person. Gratitude, compassion. Okay, well, let's start with one of them. How is this person teaching us humility? Yeah, They're giving us the opportunity to practice the teachings that we've heard about humility and to put into practice a value that we deeply believe in. So why are we angry at somebody who's going to give us the opportunity to create merit and to advance on our spiritual path by generating a good quality? Okay, they may not have the quality. Oh, because we don't have the quality. Okay, we don't have the quality, which is why we need to develop it, isn't it?
Our aspirations, which are valueless.
Yeah, yeah, it's our aspiration and our value, but at that moment, when we're offended and our own pride is stimulated, you know, the last thing in the world we have is humility.
We're not quick enough to see that what is happening right now is to see whatever rising, the anger, the frustration, whatever, has nothing to do with that stupid guy. I'm the stupid one reacting,
Yep.
but I don't want to see that. He's the one.
Yep.
It's because of him, it's because of her that I have no anger.
Yes. Exactly.
And I transfer all the time outside. Transfer.
Yeah.
Until one day,
Oh, how come I keep having the same problems with so many people?
voila.
Yeah. Voila.
Takes a lot of humility to own it and be able to own it. Nothing to do with that.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why it's so kind.
Mm-hmm.
It's helping people see my own difficulties.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Which of course we don't want to see our own difficulty. But as Dharma practitioners, we have to make what our head and our heart, we have to bring them together. So our head and our mouth may be saying, yes, I want to develop all the qualities like the Buddha, I want to be humble, I want to not take things personally, and so on. And our heart says the opposite. And we have to, you know, kind of try and work with our heart, with our, our gut feeling to dispel, the wrong conceptions that are feeding our anger, our feelings of humiliation or stupidity or whatever. Okay? We have to really use the Dharma to look at our own afflicted emotions that are not the other person's responsibility. They are our responsibility. Yeah.
In my case, I'm just helping people to know that they
Right. I'm providing the opportunity for them. Yeah. So you should put me on the crown of your head like your spiritual teacher. Because I'm helping you overcome your anger and arrogance. Yeah? Right? Yeah? That's the way we really want to practice it. Yeah, you put me on the crown of your head.
Believe me, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, to really look and see, because all these feelings inside of us, they're coming from us. They're not coming from the other person. Yeah? The seeds of those feelings are inside us. The external situation is just, pushing our buttons. But we're the owners of the buttons. So we have to do something with our own buttons. And one of our buttons is, I am worthy of respect, of dignity, of this and that. Not just in a humble way or a regular way of, I'm like everybody else and I'm worthy of, things. It's in a way. Yeah. You are inferior to me. You should treat me in a certain way. And we hold ourselves, so high. Yeah, it's really kind of sad, isn't it? This is the verse that came up in the Gem of Wisdom yesterday, remember? About the mule who brays. What was it? Who is the person who's most foolish of all? Or who is the mule that's most foolish of all? The one who brays about their good qualities that they don't have. Yeah? When we're so full of ourselves and put ourselves up so much that we can't stand to hear any information or even any opinions that disagree with our own conceit. Yeah? And yet our conceit is an afflicted state of mind that keeps us in the cycle of rebirth, in the cycle of suffering. Because when people don't treat us the way we think we should be treated, then we get so upset. And when we're upset, we're unhappy, aren't we? Yeah. And where are we ever going to go in this entire planet where people are going to treat us as well as we think they should treat us? Consistently. Where are we going to go? Yeah? Where everybody in the world is going to recognize us as number one and make 3 prostrations to us before they ask us to pass the catch-up. That's not going to happen. So this arrogant mind, that is so attached to praise, so attached to reputation. Yeah, we have to do something with this arrogant mind. And so cultivating humility is the way to do it. And in that way, this person is giving us that opportunity, and we have to see them as kind in the same way that our spiritual mentors are kind in teaching us and giving us opportunities to practice. Okay, so like I said, it's the exact opposite way we want to think. As I'm giving this talk, I am thinking of so many incidences from the past. They're all, or these idiots, but like, how do you want to go through your whole life getting angry again and again and again at people who aren't treating you with as much respect as you think you deserve? Now, people are going to say, well, does that mean that when they're not treating me with respect, I should just shrink up and agree with them that I'm worthless and stupid and unworthy? Does that mean that I agree with them? Is that what he's telling me to do in order to be humble? Is to agree with their opinion of me? It's not, okay? And this is a very important point because we often go from one extreme to the other. Either we think we're great Or we flip and we think that we're totally lousy. Yeah. And we go back and forth depending upon what other people say to us and what they think about us. And it's kind of, why do we get angry at the person who is speaking down to us in the first place? It's because one part of our mind is afraid that maybe what they're saying is right. That we really are kind of stupid. And of course we don't like hearing that, so we get angry at them. Because if we really felt secure in our own hearts that we are not stupid, then it wouldn't really matter what other people said about us, because we would have the discriminating wisdom to assess if what they're saying is true or not. But when we don't have that discriminating wisdom, then whatever people say, we are buffeted around by it like this, you know, because we're not grounded in being able to evaluate ourselves and see our strengths and see our weaknesses, accept ourselves for who we are. Yeah. Are you getting what I'm saying? Yeah? Because when we can look inside and say, well, I do have that good quality. What this person is saying, you know, this equal or inferior person is what they're saying to me out of pride. You know, what they're saying really doesn't have anything to do with me, because I know myself and I feel secure that, you know, this comment doesn't apply. It's, you know, what they're saying is a reflection of their own fear or their own insecurity. I don't need to take it personally. Yeah. Or maybe if what they said does have some truth, and this equal or inferior person is pointing out to us that once in a while, not very often, but once in a while we make a mistake, or we're inconsiderate, yeah, then to be able to own our mistake without lambasting ourselves and telling ourselves we're a horrible person, but just saying, yes, I made that mistake, and being able to see, to separate the action from the person. I made that mistake, but that does not mean I'm a bad person. Yes, I didn't know that. That does not mean I'm stupid. Okay? So there's a difference between an action and the character or qualities of the person who does it. Because, you know, actions can be wrong and mistaken and detrimental and harmful. Yeah? But we can't really say that a person is evil or stupid or incorrigible, because everybody has the potential to become a fully awakened Buddha, including us. Yeah, don't leave yourself out of it. So yes, I may have made a mistake, even a huge one. I may have done something incredibly inconsiderate. Yeah, and I'm sorry that I did that. But it doesn't mean that I have to beat myself up and feel guilty and tell myself I'm unworthy of anything. Okay? So this person is actually teaching us a lot. They're teaching us, you know, how to acknowledge when we are mistaken and still have a mind that accepts ourselves and respects ourselves and is willing to own up to our mistakes. And they're also teaching us how to have a mind that doesn't get buffeted around by other people's comments and opinions. But, you know, how to how to have a self-confidence based on actually knowing ourselves and knowing that we have the potential to become fully awakened. Okay? Let me read you the story that goes along with this, because in this book I tried to put stories that different people told me about real life incidences that they went through that illustrate the points in here. Okay? So, somebody said, at work, a younger colleague, okay, so younger colleague, right, inferior, and I were setting up the refreshment table before a meeting. In my culture of origin, older people are automatically respected and treated with courtesy. In the culture of this young person, respect is earned through one's behavior, no matter what your age. While working together, I told this young man to take something out of the refrigerator. Looking back, I see that I did not ask kindly. I gave an order. Anyway, he ignored me and asked another person near us whether he should do what I had asked. I felt really angry and told him so, and we exchanged some angry words. Later, I went to him with the intention to apologize, but the conversation again turned into conflict. Yeah. At the end of it, I was very upset. But, you know, this person was a practitioner, so she said, I bowed to him and told him that he was right in telling me that I was rude and inconsiderate. For the next 3 weeks, I had to wrestle with my self-centered view of this situation and with the emotions of humiliation, anger, and pride swimming through my head. I kept rehearsing over and over how I had run several businesses and agencies, taught hundreds of students, supervised many workers, and how he had done none of these things. However, blaming him and praising my own good qualities did nothing to alleviate my anger and unhappiness. Finally, I consulted my Dharma teacher, who clearly and kindly got me to stop my continuous recitation of his faults and deficiencies. Oh, Mani Padme, he's a jerk. Oh, Mani Padme, he's an idiot. Oh, Mani Padme, who does he think he is? Okay, to stop my constant recitation of his faults and deficiencies and help me to look at my own process, what I had done and what I needed to address to clean up inside my own mind. It was tough going. I did a lot of purification around my pride and my anxiety over doing things quickly and efficiently. I carefully examined my compulsion to control everyone and everything when I felt anxious, and my own rudeness when I was in controlling mode. She was doing a lot of good work here. Gradually, as I calmed down and got more honest with myself, I saw that his feedback was accurate. That at times I am rude and considerate to others. I was able to relax and do my job more effectively than ever. At the roughest moments of this dispute, he was a good teacher for me, and I am grateful to him for that. For those of you who know Zopa, that was her story. Yeah. Okay. Any questions or comments? So that's progress, isn't it? Yeah. When you know, like you said, you used to have to go look at the sky 3 hours. Now you can like sit in your room for 15 minutes and get yourself calm. So that's definitely progress, and you should pat yourself on the back.
But
yeah.
For some reason, you know, we think, okay, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this today, and be done.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Once and for all, I, the great and glorious Dharma practitioner, am going to be done with this. But we're not realizing how much of a habit we have. Yeah. And so we're very much creatures of habit, and we have to really work at starting a new habit. But, you know, that's the value of having a regular daily Dharma practice, where we come back to these kind of points again and again and again. Yeah, because it's really a process of habituating ourselves. Hmm? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's why sometimes it's nice to make yourself a list of antidotes. You know, if you look in guided meditation on the stages of the path, there's a list of antidotes for different afflictions. So good, you know, keep it in your wallet, on your phone. Yeah, with a shortcut to access it on your phone right away. Okay, antidote to jealousy, antidote to anger. What is it? Yeah? So that'll help you remember. Oh, that's an idea for a new app. Yes. Why is it hard to recognize pride? Yeah, well, it's associated with attachment too, and very much with the, you know, the strong sense of I, you know, and it's hard to recognize. I think because sometimes admitting it, then we feel so insecure. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to have to hold Kara like I used to hold Sage, because that's the only way to get people to look at me and not her. 2 years ago when I was teaching in Montana before she was born, Sage was that old, and I held him during the teaching because then people would look at me. Hi, how are you? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's okay. Oh. 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 Huh? Yeah. Everybody's okay. There you go. Okay. Yeah, so we just work with our pride, and, you know, and keep coming back to that and letting things go, and, you know, and just realizing, hey, you know, I don't need to feel that I'm so unworthy or be so insecure. You know, this is a statement reflecting the other person's pain and confusion. It's not really a statement telling me who I am intrinsically. Hmm? Mm-hmm.
About how we all have the potential to become Buddhas, and even if we do one action that's, you know, that we weren't thinking, you know, we did something that was not smart, you know, and yet we're still not smart, you know, we're still smart people even though we do these actions. But, you know, if we just keep doing them over and over and over and over again, you know, it just is to the point where, you know, maybe I'm not a smart person, you know what I mean? Like, maybe, you know? And I was just wondering, because I don't, you know, even if I do something often, I don't want to consider myself that kind of person.
Right. Yeah. So the temptation is, if we keep making the same mistake over and over and over again, then we really think I am my mistake, and I am, you know, I can't overcome this, and this is an inherent part of me, and we make up this big story about how incompetent we are. Yeah. But again, just to see, hey, the action is the action, I'm the person. I still have the potential to become a Buddha. You know, these afflicted mental states that are motivating my bad actions they have not entered into the nature of the mind. Yeah, the nature of the mind is actually free of these. Yes, it is. It is. It's free of all the afflictions. Yeah? It's free of all the afflictions. So on that basis, we know we can become Buddhas. Oh. Huh? Oh, you want to go to Mama? Okay, wait a minute. You better pick her up. I can't reach. Okay. Okay. She made it for a good while. Yeah?
She looked back over and saw me again. She said, wait a second. I'm mad that Mom's here. No. She's right as long as she doesn't see me.
Sage, do you want to come up? No? Okay. 2 years ago he wanted to. He was the star 2 years ago. Oh, yeah, now she's crying because she wants to come here. Huh? Oh, she wants to know. Oh, okay. We'll finish soon. It's lunchtime. Okay. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, so just because we've made the mistake, you know, many times, doesn't mean that that mistake is the essence of who we are, or that the afflicted mental state that motivated that mistake is who we are. You know, it's like all the afflicted mental states are rooted in ignorance, and ignorance is something that can be eliminated. You know, it's not the nature of the mind. So when we have some idea of this, you know, that the fundamental nature of our mind is pure, then that gives us a valid basis for self-confidence. Yeah, because we know then that whatever mental affliction we have is something that we can eventually eradicate. Yeah, it's not who we are. We don't need to develop an identity around our mental afflictions. Okay. Yeah.
One way I kind of think about it is that is the flip side of the pride, right? It's the same function. It's like either we're really big or we're really terrible.
Exactly.
They both kind of exist and they feel very solid. And in that we can be in such dramatically different states so quickly.
Yeah.
And they both feel so solid. Like that's like that nature of the object that we're trying to negate, right? Like the
exactly.
That's there that makes us suffer so much, and that's so unrealistic or whatever. And it's just the two sides of the same kind of coin.
Right. Yeah. So making ourselves either really wonderful or really awful, it's still all about me. And it's still all based on this idea that there's a real concrete, solid person here. Yeah. And so it flips back and forth. You know, I'm really solidly concrete wonderful, I'm really solid awful, but anyway, it's all about me. Which is, you know, it gets tiresome after a while, doesn't it? Well, it hasn't so far. But it should. Just thinking about ourselves should get really boring after a while. You know? I mean, if you have, when we have to listen to somebody else who goes on and on about themselves, I'm so wonderful, I'm so terrible, we get totally bored, don't we? Yeah, but when we go on and on about it in our own mind, we don't get bored at all. We should. Yeah.
A lot of times when someone criticizes you, it's hard to deal with that. Whether I'm right or who's right and wrong about it.
Mm-hmm.
And, in this verse, it's talking about someone who's criticizing you, who's negative motivation.
Mm-hmm.
The point is not who's right and wrong, how we deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So not to describe the situation to ourselves in a right or wrong framework, but actually to look at the situation from how can I benefit from this. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We've seen a limited culture where the word special is used and all that. People oh, you're so special. Oh my gosh, you're really wonderful. Like that's what artists are saying. It's almost as if, you don't want to be just ordinary. You can best do it first.
Yes. Yep. We've got to be special in one way or the other.
You hear about people do mass murder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All about me. Okay, one last question. Yeah? Oh.
Something was triggered when you used the term boredom.
Mm-hmm.
Something, consideration that was brought to me. We won't do anything different, think any different, until we're absolutely bored. Boredom is the trigger for transformation. In this life.
Yeah. Very often when we just get tired of rerunning the same scenario over and over again.
How many times are you going to run it?
Yeah. Oh, many more.
Yeah.